Fourth game of the day. We're back in the desk alongside with Trouble and Metaberg. Welcome back, everybody.
Metaberg?
He's right.
That's what you came up with?
Right.
Metaberg.
Yes, yeah. Why are you saying it's like an insult? Yes, I play meta.
I didn't
Meta
insult
beats.
you.
Why am I-
I'm just saying you're the
Okay,
filthy
who's the
meta
highest
player.
elo on the broadcast? Who's highest elo on broadcast?
Okay, I'm going to tell you this. I reached the same elo as you playing Pantheon top.
When?
Now.
No, when did I ask?
You just asked. Wait, you're agreeing with it? He just asked.
No, but
That's
that
for
was
you,
good.
Orcs.
That was good.
How is it good if he asked?
That
No,
was
I
good.
didn't ask.
I'll never bring you tea again. I'm
It's
just
fine,
saying.
guys.
I'm
I
done.
was
Great
I was
It was
actually a
great team.
pro player, so I'll beat you both.
So was I. What is happening?
I was a coach.
That doesn't count.
So was
casted
I.
me. You casted me when I was coaching.
Really?
Yeah.
It was terrible, man.
It was so easy to forget you, though. So, looking into this game, Vanir versus, shall we? Yeah! Vanir versus NYYRIKKI. We're having a chill moment because this is the game today.
With no implication.
It no longer has any implications.
If there was to be a fun game, it would be this one. It literally does not matter for NYYRIKKI. It doesn't matter for Vanir. Nothing matters in this game. So if there was to be a game where people just say, let's have fun, let's just do our thing,
Let's have
just
fun.
give it a show.
Let's pick Pantheon.
This would be
Katarina.
today.
What do you, never mind, you play meta, doesn't matter.
My champion has
wanna
already
pass.
been picked. Yes, thank you.
Champion select is on
Let's
for
go.
the fourth game of the day. Second to last game of the entire split, by the way, guys. So
I want to see some fun picks. I want to see, I don't know, Petoshka's Riven or Tryndamere open or his Fiora open. I want to see like everyone actually having fun, everyone playing their, their main champion. Like, I just want to see crazy picks. Just don't ban anything. What?
well, wish denied.
You know, if okay, so what if your champion gets banned? Do you guys feel like that's enough
Okay,
representation?
Vanir and NYYRIKKI,
could
that's
you
not
ban
your
Pet?
game. It's
It's for
our
you.
game now.
Why?
Or you?
Can't take the fun away.
What a waste of Ben.
Well, because there's, okay, they're just going for full top
It's like,
here.
let Petoshka have fun. He's Fiora, he's Riven, he's Tryndamere and the bot Fiora.
Very unfortunate. And on the side of NYYRIKKI, they're still going like, oh, this is meta, right? We're just banning away the OPs. Obviously, Vanir have the luxury of being blue side, where they can just first pick one of the OPs that comes out across in an overloaded situation. But even then, I'm hoping for fun.
Tryndamere ban.
Oh, you're still hoping for fun. Okay,
I am.
everybody's hoping for fun. But even though, okay, even if it's not only fun picks, it's still a game where they can showcase what they
Oh,
are.
it's coming.
It's coming?
I don't
Ah,
think
yeah.
I don't think it's
Katarina now. I would love to see it,
Ah,
but
yeah. What Katarina, man?
So
Wait.
last ban of the
Well, waiting for the bans to go through. Wait, is that? Could it be? Oh, wait.
I mean, Rise is still so meta as well to ban away. You're waiting for
it's
the one
there,
now.
It's right. It's coming. I can feel it.
Nile.
I can feel
If
it.
both
Come on.
teams made a mutual agreement of not playing Jinx and Aphelios, that'd be really nice.
That would be the best game.
Unfortunately, this world is not very nice.
What do you mean? It's the perfect world.
Yep, nope, not with that happening.
Hey, it's a B1 Jinx. It takes us all the way back to week 2, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, you can take it back. The prep we made for the first week of LEC still matters this week.
LEC or NLC?
NLC.
Thank you.
Sorry, the prep we made for the
Are we
first
that
week of
good?
NLC.
You confuse us like LEC
It's
with
just
NLC.
same letters.
I was
It's
about
2
to say
out
it's a
of
very
3.
similar name.
Yes.
It is. I was trying to, okay.
Oh,
It's
wow.
going to be the
No way.
handshake
So
agreement
Jinx
to
was-
bot side.
Let's
Can you
go.
believe that Jinx was responded with an Aphelios?
No way, man. I think we're never gonna see a Hecarim here or a Zinzao either.
Yeah, that would be
Maybe
crazy.
Even a Trundle would be nuts. Yeah, like a
Volibear would be.
fresh.
Volibear would never see
If they
that
bring
out there.
Nautilus, I'm going to lose my mind.
Vanir and NYYRIKKI, wake up, man.
What are you
Have
talking
fun.
about as well? Such a long talk here. Oh no.
What is that? No way.
Actually, they're just teasing us. They're just
Imagine
torturing
you get
us now.
30 seconds to talk about a pick and draft, and you
You
have
end up
to
with
use them
Shinzao.
all
Sound a
to talk about Aphelios and Shinzao.
Oh,
It's
oh,
not.
please. I don't care if it's Pantheon.
What's
Just
sillier
pick
comparison,
something
bitch?
interesting.
Stuff
Give,
like that.
give Trouble this one, please.
Just-
Give it. Saida give it. Saida takes it. It's the nod to the top side. At least they know us, you know?
Here,
At least they
You know, I
don't.
used to be a
Right,
top laner, and now was one of my most played champions. Yeah. Yeah.
They're calling you a metal slave even from the cast.
It's the stable one. So okay, If they want to take this serious, we should take this serious then and look into this game. Okay, so
The
Jason.
thing here is that because they picked Na early, it was very easily responded with a Jace. Now, what does that do? It makes you extremely squishy. It doesn't matter. If you put the Jace mid, maybe you can pick a tanky top lane, right? But we're talking about Petoska. The most tanky thing he's ever played is the Cho'Gath, and then he played it AP. It wasn't necessarily very tanky. So I'm assuming like something maybe like the Camille, the Tryndamere can come through if the Jace is mid. I think the Jace is going to go top lane to reply to the Na.
Interesting to see these enchanter bans as well, because I'm really looking at mid lane champions here, and I feel like Orianna and Cillian are just turbo broken with the comp you have right now. Gives extra movement speed to play with your Jinx and Hecarim. So both these two champions will just go through, and yeah, currently right now from Vanir, I don't think you mind trimming out the pool from support a little bit, just because it's such a vast amount of champions you can pick from, where I feel like there's some niche champions you can pick on Vanir's side that would make their composition a little bit greater. But Yuumi obviously pairs well with Hecarim as well later.
I'd also take away the Nautilus probably here, if I was Vanir, and we're going towards champions that can really protect your Aphelios. I feel like Nautilus is mostly prioritized over the Leona a lot of the times, and we see him banned over her. Because it's much easier to deal with the Leona. Like we've even seen the Janna as a reply to the Leona coming through, and especially when you have the Jinx, it's gonna be getting jumped on by a Zinza. It'd be also a very easy tool to do that. So I'm wondering what Vanir are gonna do here.
Well, they're talking a long time, and there you go, they missed their bans because they talk too long.
You know what that reminded me of?
What's up?
When we're like, so our coach was telling us, ban Riven, his dog was barking, and we had Draven.
didn't hear
and
that.
we're like, wait, Draven? And then we ended up banning nothing.
And just like that, Avagnale has been given his best champion on the Rift by far, the Rakan itself. Like, even in situations where it seems like Rakan wouldn't do well, this guy manages to come from flank positions and always win his team's, or his team the fight. So, very scary pick, and certainly a ban you wished you had been able to use, but now they can't just respond with a Leona if they want to.
Can you take the Renata in this situation, though?
I mean, there's possibilities for it, but I mean, in the end, yeah, surely you actually can. It's a great pickup here.
Okay, so here it's not necessarily my favorite because the entire team is
happening?
diving forward. So I would much rather, I would much rather see this.
No, go back to the Renata.
The Ahri dives in, the Hecarim dives in,
Is
the
this-
Gnar dives in, and then you need somebody
Wait.
to stay.
Wait. Quicksand! Quicksand! Oh! Give it to me! Yes! Yes! Ah! Oh! 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 Give them nothing, but take from them everything. Remember this day, lads, for it will be yours for all time.
I would like to apologize to all headphone users.
I'm so happy. How does it feel, Georgia?
Ha, now we get to do this, because don't leave me hanging. Go on.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so sad.
Hey,
Rolling.
I was talking about Cillian, who decided to come through from the side of Aero instead. They still have the movement speed to play around with their AD carry as well, but honestly, Pantheon's a great champion into Rakan to just stop that mobility in the early game. Can stop him with the quickness as well, and...
It is time. It is time.
No, you stay out. You
NYYRIKKI,
left. No.
you
don't
want
come
these
back.
points? Come and get them. Because we have Pantheon in the Summoner's Rift. And without further ado, what is your profession, casters? Give it to me. Ooh,
What is happening?
what is happening?
Well, thank you for saving me from the Pantheon gank. I wasn't expecting it.
The rift is dangerous around these parts, young Skycaster. Jungle supports scare easily, but they'll be back, and with more teammates.
I was out here looking for a summoner who goes by the name of Old Nim Kenobi.
Old Nim Kenobi. That's a summoner name I've not heard in a long time.
You know him?
Well, of course I know him. He's me.
Hey, Initialize and I'm on the desk making every Star Wars reference under the two suns, binary sunsets, and a wonderful Pantheon pick for Archeron. Thank you, Quickseth. Sorry for the eardrums, but I'm not sorry for the hype because this should be very exciting. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great. Of course, the Kenobi trailer dropped earlier.
Did. I'm very excited.
I was like, crap, we can't really, get another intro to do with Pantheon right off the bat, but we will deal with it as we come. But speaking of that Pantheon and for Quicksith and stuff, I mean, Quicksith has had some really good games recently. We went back to that Renata play in the pre-show. It's been in a lot of our hype videos too. This guy has made some incredibly top-tier plays. Now the question is, of course, can you do that for one last time in the regular split as they're facing down NYYRIKKI?
Absolutely. And unfortunately for Vanir, despite having a really good season, the problem is they're going to tie with Dusty. And Dusty have had the better, I've got the head-to-head record against Vanir. They are 0-2 against them. Unfortunately for them, that means they are effectively locked into 5th, 6th alongside Riddle. And while they are strictly 5th, the problem is they don't get to choose their opponents. Someone gets to choose.
It makes very little difference to them. I believe the only thing it would matter with is if both 5th and 6th seed then progressed from their match and then faced in the lower bracket decider. And well, not, the second round rather.
I get you.
The lower bracket final is technically the semi-final. And then they would get side choice on the first game of the series. That's the only time it would matter.
Okay, quick heads up as well. We've got a bit of a delay here because there are some in-game ping issues for one player. So we're just waiting to see if we can resolve that before we get onto the Rift. So it just gives us a little bit more time to procrastinate in podcast, which turns out we've done quite a lot of.
We've done a lot.
Fairness, to be fair, we've got like nearly 26 years of synergy at this point.
Yes, that's very true.
Oh my days, I'm getting old.
Yeah, you've just doxed my. No, I mean, I'm pretty open about how old I am. I have a birthday, you know.
Do you?
I do. Most people do. But yes, we've been here, of course, now for an entire regular split on the NLC.
We have.
And it's a little weird to think that, you know, first studio gig back in week 3, coming back up to this point, and rounding up what has been an incredibly exciting split of League of Legends.
Absolutely.
I think you could point out a couple of days of particularly high action. I think last game day, actually, on Monday, was incredibly hypey for that. And actually, one of the best games in that was actually NYYRIKKI against Bifrost, which was such a back-and-forth mid-game slugfest.
We have actually got a little something for you here. I believe production managed to pull together a little reaction video as Archron loses his mind. So we'll just cut to that.
Oh, we've got to see this.
We've got to see this. Go on, let's have a look.
Show us. Oh, wonderful.
The sheer joy is glorious.
He was worried he would lose his shirt, actually.
There was a, like, that is a man who has lost
It was if a million pieces of fabric cried out and was suddenly torn.
Apart. Yeah, exactly. The Alderan of shirts just about survives. Just
look at those veins bulging.
Like, there's a GIF in there somewhere. Look at that.
Several, actually, at this point.
I'm not sure if excited or terrified. Probably equal measure.
I want them to be scared of how excited they are for it. That all the dodge.
Look, just the sheer emotiveness of Alex. Look at that. It's amazing.
Yeah.
There are actually 2 Alexes. But I say Alex, I realised I got to clarify.
There are actually quite a lot of them.
I'd missed the chair lean back because at that point I was hiding under the desk for our own entry.
Isn't that funny? Actually, our first show on here as well, I was badly hiding.
Oh, yeah, we could see.
It was like the worst game of hide and seek that I've ever played.
You are quite
I'm
tall.
tall enough to be quite bad at it.
Just your head,
anyway.
like,
yeah. That's it.
Not even hidden properly. Still waiting on that delay, guys, so we're just going to keep chatting as it is.
Yes.
Fortunately, we're very entertaining, so you'll love it.
Well, I mean, we can go back to the game, heaven forbid, because... Okay,
let's do that.
Let's round off and do our due diligence, because, you know, we need to...
So
I just saw things turn to black. I was like, whoa,
we're here.
Crazy. Oh, what?
Okay, we actually do have to turn
That
back
is
to the game,
actually a message from the production
Just
saying,
actually-
don't talk about the game. That's what I've learned.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, well, actually, I do want to talk about the game, and I do want to talk about a little bit of what the Pantheon means in the comp. I know, obviously, it's something of a fun pick, considering this game, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't make that much difference. The only thing really on the line here is pride.
But Sam, we are both VCS enjoyers too.
Oh, indeed.
We love that region.
Oh, indeed.
It's a very fun one for those of you who want to see the highest combined kill per minute. That's a good one to go look over. And they were big players the Pantheon support. And actually, that spread across a couple of the other regions near them, which tended to scrim them. And what you understand from Pantheon is that if you fight them level 1, where he gets to jump in and stack, say if you jump in with your shield bash and you hit them 3 times the autos, you stack up Conqueror ridiculously fast. If you have Perish the Attack, you stack that up incredibly fast. So early levels, when you have that passive procced, you don't want to be fighting that. Now, on the other side, you do see that there is an exhaust, there is a cleanse as well. So NYYRIKKI are ready to disengage from that. However, they don't have themselves and ignite themselves to take the aggressive trades now.
No, they do not. Remember as well, that things like Pantheon can be quite good in someone like the Rakan, who's gone exhaust for a reason here, but there's no heal. It is a cleanse for similar reasons, where basically fully charged shield vault pins you in place for a long time, and with the ignite, and honestly with the Jinx, who can throw down some flame chompers afterwards, there's a pretty good CC chain there to make sure you're tight.
Plus the charm, plus the Mega Knot. So I'm sorry for us getting distracted, but production has decided to make our job extra hard today by putting up various images of the reaction image of the Pantheon pick just around the
It's not even the same. It's not even the same image. It's differing images of Archer. in like various apoplexic descriptions, expressions.
Look, as long as I still have the game to
joy.
look at somewhere in the studio, I'm fine. At that point, I can still kind of do what we need to do.
This is where we end up
cast,
with
but-
one like on a ceiling somewhere. We have to like try and cast like with our heads like tilted at 90 degrees.
Well, I mean, I was about to say, it's like, where's Wally? Except we've been playing Where's Pantheon for the last couple of weeks at the NLC. And we have finally found ourselves at the end of that journey. And we now find ourselves Pantheon on our screen. As you see, has really good ability to just zone off level 1, potentially get that wave push. And there we go. Found him again. Wonderful.
Comet Spear coming through. Very obnoxious poke that as well, and you don't necessarily need a lot of AD to make that very nasty early on, so could potentially look to try and chunk out someone like Azat or Abigail early on with that as well.
So, obviously, one of the things which is a little less good about the Pantheon in this case is that often Pantheon isn't necessarily just about the 2v2, especially since he was nerfed for the Pantheon role. He used to be able to block tower shots, right?
Oh,
you
yeah.
shove in, you dive with an empowered E, and you block a lot of turret shots, and you could really start threatening a lot of weaker early game 2v2s. But effectively, even without that ability to block turret shots, you want to be fighting around 3v3s. And if you've got Hecarim versus Jin Zhao, you are not winning that early 3v3. Pantheon or not, with his early lockdown, early damage, he doesn't really want to be getting involved in that kind of skirmish. What he can do, though, is stuff like this. Use that early reset and come mid.
Ash, there it is, into the chomp, but it's a little bit over time. Can they still get the kill? Surely one final Comet Spear will do it. And Quixis with first blood. What is his profession?
It's ganking mid lane, baby. Gets in with both summoners, but that's the CC chain. It gets a kill over to the... Actually, giving gold to a Pantheon support is also not that bad either. You
Not
can
at
get
all.
yourself early Umbral Glaive, early lethality items, which are very cheap. And Aero, I mean, as soon as you see the Pantheon in your lane, you need to just immediately flash. There is no ego in that. You just need to get out of that, but doesn't quite understand the danger of the situation. Maybe it was because, of course, that Jin Zhao was right behind them. Sadare potentially could have gone in and assisted that, but no, the Jin Zhao not quite in position to bail him out.
And I've got to call it out as well. This is something you have talked about with me about Ahri in competitions
a lot.
before, where basically Ahri is wonderful if someone can set things up for her to follow up with the charm. Pantheon, Hecarim, two of the best champions in the whole damn game to do exactly that.
Because when you look into this kind of competition, you have a Mega Knot, you've got Hecarim CC, you've got the Pantheon 2 for point and click, just nuke this target, especially when you can just fly in with the Pantheon ult, fly in with the Ahri ult too, that you can actually not just be the setup champion yourself, but be actually the actual person who's hitting that home run when you build towards high damage. I have to see whether Sahiro agrees with my analysis of that, though, but they do have themselves the first assist on the board.
Absolutely do. Great stuff there from Vanir in the early game with the very entertaining pick. Of course, we have been focusing pretty heavily on Vanir for obvious reasons, a lot of excitement with the Pantheon coming through and the joy that's brought us on the casting team. But let's chat about NYYRIKKI a little.
Well, yeah, because NYYRIKKI, this is our last look at them. They're split. Of course, there is no promotion relegation in between spring and summer, so this organization will be back next split. However, we don't know, of course, what changes they might make in the break between splits. We've already heard in a couple of interviews that changes are coming for other teams. Not heard anything concrete from NYYRIKKI on that side, but even if they were to stay together as a 5-man unit, this is one which they would like to sit there and build confidence and have something to develop off of and keep mood high going into that break.
And, you know, they called it on dust. This is largely a serious draft from NYYRIKKI. They have gone for a game here where they want to prove they can play. Of course, Vanir pull out the slightly fun pick for the sport, but the rest of the comp, honestly, is still a very interesting one. This is still a comp that Pantheon works into. It's not complete solo queue here. And that does mean we've got to take this with a certain level of reverence, even if there's a little bit of fun with it.
No, I mean, I actually look at what Pantheon, once they hit level 6, can do, and you think, oh, if you are playing through a side lane on that Jace, yeah, that's not going to work for you. And we already talked about like, the Ahri doing it, kind of going into that too, but if Pantheon is going into a side lane while Jace is pushed up, it's going to be very, very dangerous inside of NYYRIKKI. So even if the Desiderae is in decent position, that's not easy numbers advantage to overcome if the enemy jungler with the Ghost is going to make their way quickly there too.
The ability for Vanir to collapse with their mid-jungle support is pretty extreme once level 6 comes through. Between Onslaught of Shadows, Spirit Rush, and of course the Grand Starfall can do a lot. And Sahira's already got level 6, looking to try and make Desidere's life pretty challenging. Patoshka kind of caught a little under tower, and that's kind of the absolute worst place for Jace's wave to be. He doesn't mind the wave being just outside his tower, but once it's actually crashed into his tower, he is not happy. And where he's at right now, with level 6 on Noodle as well, he's a bit wary, but of course the resets do come through. Desidere will get to reset as well. And we do get a little bit of calm before an oncoming storm, one imagines.
So, I think Sahira doing more than fine there just to show their face on the map. And this is something you do with a lot of roaming mids, right? You just disappear into fog. You don't always have to do much with it, but just holding the enemy team accountable and saying, look, you can't follow me into fog of war as a Zillion. You die at that point, particularly again with the Hecarim hitting level 6 too. So you have to be very, very wary. Now the question is, can NYYRIKKI actually get themselves a safe line of vision to play around? You can see actually in the top red side quadrant, there is a pink ward on the back of that red buff. Now, there's no vision in the river, either side either. It's for Aero to play safely.
Ooh, good chunk there onto Quixoth, because of course you can still try and take some opportunities to attack the Pantheon, who is still pretty squishy, because he can build the damage, and they get a bit of a chunk there. Playing a little bit with fire, of course, because the turnaround is definitely an available thing. You can interrupt something like a Ricard in the middle of his jumps if you're quick with your W finger.
All this time, we were waiting on Yepe to pull out the pick, but it turns out there was a new hope in the name of Quixoth. Long may he live.
And Vanir's Empire did strike back with that counter pick towards the bot lane. Of course, Abigail on his very famous Rakan. And here comes a bot dive, potentially is flash away from attempted crunch or wallop there. Flash forward to the Mega Gnar, though. Does get a wallop afterwards as it's out of mana for Patoshka. Trying to outplay it, and Nile gets the solo kill.
That is so slick. Gets close, as many of these top lane 1v1s do. See if there's another saga to follow from the bot side, but it turns out it is just going to be disengagement from both sides.
Desidere was on vision there. There was a ward just in lane that spots him coming through.
So, things come back down to a simmer after a brief spot of boiling, and it comes from a 1v1 in the top side. A duel of maybe not fates, but decent top laners.
Well baited.
Well baited. I was trying to think of a really good way to make that pun and decided, no, I'm not going to do that instead. Either way, Patoshka, as you said, kind of using the full breadth of the mana bar, but not enough to go through the entire rotation. And just don't fight Mega Gnar. Fighting Mega Gnar is often the way you lose. I mean, a lot of counter matchups into Gnar are just, you can beat him up while he's mini, not necessarily while he's in Mega. And Patoshka on the wrong end of that trade. And, goes down for assault.
Efficiency Noodle. I like it. Managing to take out both the Rift Scuttle and their big sister at the same time. Shelly going to be taken out here by Vanir with little contest. Herald secured. And that means, I suspect, a tower and a potential dive on said tower is in the cards in the near future.
And again, you now have Quixoth with ult on the move. You've got Sahira who's shoving in the wave, took the dematerializers to shove that wave even faster, and now you're seriously worrying on the side of Aero how you can affect this map. You only have one teleport, and what happens if there's a threat, you have to pull it defensively, and you can't respond to the next play.
Reading rotations, reading resets from Quixoth the Noodle is going to be key over the next couple of minutes, because the setup for this Herald, the setup for what will likely be a tower dive, will be critical for NYYRIKKI to respond to. It's not always been their strength. Sometimes they've ended up in positions where they have been a little rotate a little off the pace when it comes to some of these mid-game rotations. Even if we've seen great skirmishing from them, particularly the likes of Patoshka and Azador have been great carries when they've had opportunities for NYYRIKKI, but sometimes as a team, they can be a little slower to the play than they'd like to be.
And obviously their composition is not going to help them in this regard. Like we said, we already talked about the power of the Pantheon, mid lane's kind of working towards that too, the Ghost on the jungle. Everything on the side of Vanir says we're going to arrive to the play first. So NYYRIKKI are going to have to overcome part of their own worries, their own demons that they faced during this split, and try and do it in a situation which is really difficult to do so.
Yeah. Quick eye in on some of the itemization choices. Moby Boots, interesting for the Pantheon, for the additional move speed. Nothing like Merc Treads or the like, just wants the straight movement speed to get around the map as often as possible, be prowling for those picks. Gone for the shoulder guards as well for a little bit more safety, etc. So nothing super surprising there.
It's just arrive first to the play. Got to make sure you have maybe not have the hyperspace, more like a slip space drive to always be faster than your enemy team.
Not expecting the Halo reference there.
Look, if I'm going towards the sci-fi references, I gotta go dig deep. And Patoshka
All right, Patoshka
Digging himself out of this top lane hole.
But it's going to be a 3v2, and that's just a very dead mini now.
Oh, okay, maybe not just Patoshka digging himself out of that hole he found after that CS deficit and the kill, but some teammates came in and did. And what do you know? Support jungle roam do come back. They do come with some more teammates attached.
Abigail was there, Quicksith was not. And Halo references aside, still a little bit sad about how the story's going in that game. Not going to go there. I'm a little bitter.
I'm very much looking forward to my first desk or at all show with Jamada, because I know he's a big fan of the series.
Indeed.
That'll be a good one. I look forward to it.
Yes, I'll not get into that too much. Halo 5 made me sad. Anyway, Herald, someone in mid lane, does get the charge, does get the plates. Good job onto Zizure. Abigail does manage to stop some of that damage with a little bit of assistance with the battle dance. A little more to write home about aside from that. Items are starting to come through. Patoshka with that kill did complete the Eclipse. Got a dragon spawning and up for someone to take if they should so wish.
And for those of you who've been keeping an eye on the financials of this game, that's a bit of gold lead for Vanir.
It is.
And a lot of that is due to looking down at the CS numbers. Leads in every lane. That is a 20 CS lead in mid, similar from top. Bot lane, of course, still succeeding for the side of Vanir too. You have 1 kill on top lane, which was traded for the earlier solo kill. Vanir just winning across all fronts right now.
They're going to come in towards this dragon, take it without too much contest from NYYRIKKI, who started it, but decided they can't stay there. So it'll just be a thank you for the leash.
Hey, so that's first dragon down. Which is now a little bit of a problem for NYYRIKKI, because if you're going to play against a team that wants to fight...
Oh, no, not again, not again, not again! Megan out of the wall, looking for another boulder that comes crashing in. Space shuttle lands through. Boulder tried to read the dodge, doesn't get through, and Patoshka gets out alive this time, but Noodle is around, and there's oodles and doodles of Noodle damage coming straight through. Also, a shadow over the wall, but it's...
Okay.
One. That was a bit aggressive. Grand Starfall! Sahira gets that one. He's got Spirit Rush, but misses the charm. Now they need to try and extricate themselves. In comes Aero and Abigail. One last charge of the Spirit Rush will mean there will be no more. It's just a 1-for-1 trade.
Okay, so it is a bit of an overextension from Noodle with getting himself into a bit of a difficult situation. Is actually going towards what looks to be the Divine Sundress, a very bursty coming through from the Hecarim. And again, I like how Vanir have said, we are not playing for direct team fights. We want to have ways to out-skirmish and fight around the wider map. Everything is screaming that. And actually, let's bring this back to a more relevant point, because we know that Vanir already locked into playoffs. They're pretty much effectively locked into their seed as well, or at least there isn't really much of a difference this game will make on it. But what they can do is give a blueprint of some different ways of how they want to play the game, have some stage time with it. Against you, NYYRIKKI are not a slouch of a team either. Of course, they are out of playoffs, but they had a much needed late season resurgence.
Hero.
And they want to show that they can have a bit more versatility.
Uh-oh, he's in a lot of trouble. Does have a speed up, though, with the time warp. Getting slowed down a little bit by the passive there. The Hyperprox chunking Aero out. Won't be able to get too much more. Meganart now through. We'll see it as well. I'm sure you're pretty happy at this point as well. Have you noticed the items?
Oh, that's an item!
It is.
Yes!
Talk to me.
Everfrost be gone! We have a Ludens.
Justify
Lovely.
yourself.
So, it's basically what we were saying earlier. Ahri in this game is sole AP. You have a lot of CC. The Pantheon, definitely a big part of that.
Nile taken pretty low. Does have flash, does have hop. Will get out of danger. Go back to talk about Ludens.
Okay, so basically, it's still going to come down to you want to be the one who's really finishing the kills. Now, when you play this build, and actually just any Ahri build, I'm a massive fan of early Dark Seal, getting it on your first back. Of course, I think it was exact gold for Sork Boots, which obviously changes the equation a little bit. But if you get up to a significant amount of Magi stacks, and you are building a higher damage build on Ahri, game becomes very difficult to take away from that champion. But have to see, of course, how these fights play out. Quicksith is going all the way between the cities, getting really good use out of these Moby boots. And Cavo still having to give up some minions, but I do like how Quicksith is using the power point of this champion and the items he's built.
Sahira, Noodle, both roam to see whether they could catch somebody overstaying there a little bit. Did get a couple plates, though, in that mid lane. Apologies, not plates, of course, they've fallen a little while ago. He's not paying attention to the time up.
Crockery be gone!
Yeah, they've all fallen off. The crockery's done. We all eat out of bowls now. There's no Super Bowl here, but we've made some Super Bowl references, I guess. We'll take that one.
Have we?
I don't know. There's a cup coming up, like the tournament.
Oh, my God.
Like the championship. The NLC.
I
It
love
was a
making
tangent.
references.
It was.
I am not an expert
tenuous
on
link.
this.
It was a tenuous link.
It's okay, it's just worse rugby anyway.
I mean, the Six Nations can kind of be a tangent. There's 6 teams in playoffs. You can take that. See? It's still there. I'm just sad with Wales' performance in that right now.
True.
Sad.
True. Well, don't have to worry about that. Just a little longer, we can focus on some League of Legends.
Yep.
Okay, that's going on right now.
Pain in our voices.
A little bit of pain, just a little bit. It's, Noodle dealing some pain out to the Herald. Second Herald is nearly on the returning end of a really nasty Eclipse trade. That item really does change this matchup a lot for Jace. Jace is not the champion anymore that where if he dies early, as in previous seasons, where he just kind of fall off a cliff in terms of his impact on the game. As soon as he gets towards that first item, the Mythic, and then, of course, towards a Muramana transformation later into the game, becomes so difficult to deal with. But, of course, Hullbreaker exists to give Gnar an extra bit of mileage to last out the early matchup.
3 items for Jace, terrifying, especially considering tank items are not what they were a couple of seasons ago, with Patoshka hopping forward with the mini coming through, using the acceleration gate to run away, as Desiree and Abagnale turn up in the top side to try and offer a little bit of support to this Jace.
You know, that was a really interesting... just seeing if there's anything happening on the map. There might be a dive mid. We'll see if that comes back. But there was a really interesting Jace build, which Zeus used against Gwen, where you start E to drop down the acceleration gate and just run away from the Gwen and just throw them back.
I kind of like that. That's really good fun as Patoshka.
Nilly's
He's
probably not liking
going to be trying flash. We've got Megadon coming up against the stun on the
no!
tower! Grand Starfall is here, and it was a great wish upon said Star for Nille, who gets that kill. Tower in mid lane fell as well. It will be the Spirit Rush that was popped by Zahira, so that is down for the count. With the Dragon up and available, maybe Vanir have to give this one up with that ability.
They do, but I mean, I think you're fine just threatening, zoning off with the Spirit Rush. You've won on multiple lanes. Of course, you've used the Pantheon ult too. I don't think Vanir should be contesting this. I think you've taken your ill-gotten gains. Just give up the objective. It's not like you're giving up 2 early dragons. I think you can walk away with the win, can't you?
Surely. Onslaught of Shadows is a very strong ability, and get me wrong, so is the Super Mega Death Rocket. Being down Mega Gnar, being down Spirit Rush, being down Grand Starfall as well for the easy repossession of the Pantheon means they just won't go for it. They'll just keep NYYRIKKI tied into the river so they can take towers elsewhere.
And what they're also doing is going through the topside jungle. They're taking camps. They're taking like a side benefit, making sure that the Desiree cannot get any more farm. You can already see that the Hecarim is already starting to really run over those numbers. CS advantages again still being upheld largely by Vanir, and Desiree is going to find it really hard to find any kind of economic gain in this game.
Absolutely will do. Gold lead is a little over 300, if I want to make that reference to Pantheon on the team. Yeah, it's the best I could do, sorry mate. Significantly more for Vanir as Patoshka is definitely going to go down here. No way out. Noodle is the one who picks up that kill, his first of the game.
Stuck between an asteroid field and a hard place.
And a horse place. A horse displace, actually, with the E, because you displace enemies with
Okay, let's go way to... Look, Sam.
that was pretty good. Come on. No. That was good.
That might be one which chat might have to answer for you. I am not the internet.
Support me here. Don't give NYYRIKKI the satisfaction. He's a cocky and someone who didn't let this kind of thing go. So I need this. Come on, guys. Don't do this to me.
So it is once again. I mean, it is once again coming back down to Vanir are playing the game that the way that they want to, and NYYRIKKI are not really adapting that well to it.
Wait.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
Okay.
Our social media manager is Goku. It's close to Dooku.
No.
Which means that as the Skycaster in the skip from earlier, I'm in trouble because he'll sort me out on social. I'll be in trouble.
That's Bullseye's the Womprat and Beggar's Cat. Now it's actually a blue buff. He gets that one with the Comet Spear.
I was Biddy memeing with like the biggest sort of like forehead chain of events to allow myself to get in trouble as Quicksith finds a great Comet Spear over the wall to secure themselves the blue buff, and that's actually potentially pretty big here because Aero's out of mana. He has to reset.
Has a teleport, but doesn't want to be on the map. And again, it's just NYYRIKKI. The difficulty they have is that they do want Vanir to blow a lot of cooldowns onto someone like Jin Zhao with also a Zillion ult to back up either that first pick or the first target that they need to save in terms of like the Aphelios, right? But Vanir don't have any kind of incentive to do that. Why would they sit around an objective when they're very happy to split across the map? They have vision pretty much everywhere, and now, yes, NYYRIKKI do have some of that vision that we were asking from them earlier into the game, but they can't force Vanir to be on any one part of the map, and they're struggling to stay even when they are just farming in lanes.
And the more these towers go down, the more difficult it is for NYYRIKKI to stay safe.
You worry about the towers, I'll worry about the fighters.
Right, well, the red team is about 5,000 gold down. You could call that red 5, in fact. Yeah, see, it was bad. And the problem is there is the Death Star run that could definitely go on down these lanes right now, because without the towers there to defend them,
Oh my god,
it is
was
an
a
easy...
New Hope just an ARAM?
It's a New Hope, just an ARAM. And other such incredible revelations here by the brothers Hapgood in the NLC.
Oh my god, I've made a world-changing discovery.
No.
We're off again. Let's go to hyperspace, baby.
Here we go. Patoshka's about to find himself in trouble. And he flies in like the Millennium Falcon and takes that one down.
And he's absolutely blasted out of that top side, 2 and 5. This is exactly what we started questioning. We think, hang on, that's a lot of people that can get towards the side lane. You need to be very on it if you want to play the map wide, and they haven't been able to respond effectively. We've not, at least at this point, NYYRIKKI are going to get an objective bounty. Actually, mid lane out of turret, that's a pretty good return to actually returning back to that. Jace losing out a lot, but at least they get something as a consolation.
Yes, they do. Big Gold Lead continues to expand. Turret advantage continues to expand. And every time this happens, the more Hecarim jigs with excitement, with the Spirit Rush from Ahri, with the Grand Starfall from Pantheon, can chase you down way beyond where anywhere you can be safe. It's so hard to shove out waves safely.
And it'd be a little different if you had someone who's just such an overwhelming split pusher like someone like the
Jace.
Tryndamere, right? Jace can be that, but he's not the hull. I think you'd need a hull breaker user at that point, or someone that can just clear out from range, like a gangplank with barrels, or just sit a tower. But even then, that would have been a bit of a difficult call. And now you're sat here with the Jinzao that hasn't achieved that much early, or got a couple of assists on the table. That was okay. That was fine. And speaking of him, going to get bursted out.
Desiderate is potentially a dead Desiderate, as now Bignell's behind though to make this a turnaround. Flash for the 3 Talon Strike, but the Spirit Rush is there. Flash away again, and he gets out of dodge.
Hey, quick fingers, but close from Abagnale again. Goldborg really sang the praises of this support player on this champion in specific terms, and that one felt like it could have been something that they could work around. Because once you get one kill, you can kind of chain that into a couple of wins around the map when not all pieces of this puzzle can respond to it. But NYYRIKKI, they kind of missed the opening just about. Not managed to find that true shot. And NYYRIKKI left trying to find another opening to try and break this the constant pressure Vanir have put on them.
Yes, they have. Red buff being contested over as Noodle comes down. Here's a 2v4. Outnumbered 4-1 actually is Noodle, but it still might be an even fight. To make another Halo reference briefly there, just slightly. But the red buff does go over to Azator. And going to take out the wards, and that's what's being contested as Nile solos out Drake number 2 for Vanir. Still a little ways off something like a Soul, but are continuing to take control of the map, take control of the game. 23 minutes in. Gold lead around 6,500.
Speaking of that Soul, of course, it is going to be the Hextech Soul. I'm actually trying to remember if we referenced that one before. But either way, sat at 2 dragons. I think Vanir would like to have more of a game-breaking advantage before that point. They are still very far ahead, but you don't really want to chance it on a 5v5 or a steal to kind of elongate that game. However, Vanir also not really content to go towards a Baron or something either. Noodle walking up, seeing if he can contest a bit more. Does have a lot of teammates in the area.
And so, of course, we've got the Putrefier in inventory for Aero. Can Zilean activate Putrefier?
Yeah, so it's when you buff a champion, right?
Right.
So, and you have the Aerie, so
you can do it.
So if you heal or shield, rather, it's not just the buffs.
Cool.
Actually, no, just clarifying, it is only when you heal or shield. But because you have the Aerie, if you then speed up anyone, they will get the Aerie, and that will count as a buff. And now we have ourselves a very buff man going towards the bot lane.
Just about turns it, but isn't required in the end. Might be needed for Azator, though, who's in trouble. Here comes Noodle. They can start charging them through. Hex Gates being activated, though. Trying to turn up and spawn. As Azator gets 2 on the Shadows too late. And now they might have overdone it. Noodle needs to strength this one. Kevo is around, but he won't be able to quite do it until Noodle secures that one. Aura of Dread is there to try and heal up Desiderate. Now trying to turn back around. Wind becomes lightning. Noodle thinking about turning this one around. Abagnale is there, but gets charged out with a devastation. The Chrono Shift is there to bring Desiderate back, but I think he's going to be thrown straight back into the grave. The Night of the Living Dead ends real shortly.
Oh, never tell me the odds. Vanir take a broken fight. And it doesn't quite work out as cleanly as they would have liked, because Azator is still on his famed Aphelios. This player, even on a struggling team, has been, honestly, in my eyes, one of the best.
What?
AD carries in this split is the other AD carry on the other side. Gets absolutely blown out the water by the Zilean bombs.
Why did he have to be a fair? Because he had a thermal detonator, it turns out, as Patoshka gets into danger in another 1v1 that Nile wins out again.
That now makes me want like a Rancor Narskin. Definitely
Yes,
the same kind of
please.
posture. As Patoshka goes down, and that's such a close trade. Such a close trade. And Astor he's on a heck of a one-man mission at that point, but serious credit to him. Gets the markdown onto him with, of course, this combo is so deadly with all the auto-attack resets for the Calibrum in your inventory. But yeah, this is what happens when a Hecarim gets ahead. Very, very dangerous. Of course, not full tank, it's the Sundra, but the Sundra gives you some extra regen as well, remember?
Absolutely, and the more damage you do, remember, the more you heal up when you're using your Aura of Dread. So if you can keep tanking when you, I believe, Patoshka Noodle is running Conqueror as well, you have got a pretty decent level of healing, and then I'm assuming this is just some bombs?
I mean,
what on earth happens?
There's a flash here on Arrow. I would imagine that is involved some way. I would very much hope it. Yeah.
Oh,
That's actually really nice. You know what? That's a super clean combo. Cool guys,
Well,
don't look at explosions.
Yep, and that is a very dead AD carry. No way out of that one.
You know, one thing which I had completely, like, not clocked in this game.
Do tell.
Clocked. You know, I did.
But I mean,
with all the Star Wars references, that's an Odyssey Jinx skin.
Yes, it is.
Bit of a rebellious phase.
Indeed. But it depends whether this rebellious Jinx can find a way to stop the Imperial march forward of Vanir as they are chunking out everyone on the map as Noodle.
You'll find the team composition is fully operational. NYYRIKKI bidding a hasty retreat.
You may fire when ready. Noodle goes in, gets a hold of that one. Spirit Rush is being popped, and there are definitely more than two of them this time, and Sith Lords wish they could be as damaging as that, it turns out.
And
Still thinking
say
about it.
twice the pride, double the fall, but NYYRIKKI have been humbled in this game so far. 12-5, and again, there is a point where you think, okay, composition's about playing the map out this way, and Vanir have been very happy to play through the sidelines, as you said, but NYYRIKKI try and go for one group to fight. They're caught napping a little bit, and they have to watch this objective go.
Will not come in to steal it. Now Aero's in trouble being jumped on. Gets a blast cone over the wall as the MasterCard replay noise comes straight. Baron power play, but it's not replay. Not quite there yet. We'll be getting one shortly, I'm sure, as Aero is stunned even with the time warp available. Won't be able to do that one again. We won't need to do the dance.
And yeah, I mean, NYYRIKKI find themselves finally with Vanir and an objective. Maybe we can fight front to back, but you've actually already lost a member before going into it. You'd committed to a retreat.
Oh, Flash minion is a bit problem. As of course, still goes down anyway. Knock up, it's knocked down. Double kill for Kevo, who's continuing to run this one over. Noodle is here. Also the shadows over the wall and a double for him as well.
Oh, it's a knock up, it's a knockdown, but they do not get up again. NYYRIKKI looking to end this split with a bang, but it is just a bit of a splutter.
It's a knockdown fight, but it's certainly not dragged out. Vanir looking to close this one out in short order. Pantheon gets picked. Pantheon gets the win. Are you not entertained? It's time for the end of this one. NYYRIKKI tried, just not enough.
You want to forget about those solo kills. You want to forget about the pick and ban phase. You want to go home. Rethink
Your draft.
your draft. Apparently so. But of course, this is the last time we'll see NYYRIKKI in this split, not making it through to the playoffs. Sadly, not the best game for them to go out on. Had some bright moments, but that is a bit of a story of that game. Bright moments, but not quite stitched together.
And much like Star Wars, the best is yet to come. Episode 5, Game 5 coming up after this one. We'll be deciding who comes first in the regular season. We can't toss yet, I'm being told by production, so you're going to have to deal with that.
Oh no, I was
Come on,
that
that was actually quite good.
I was thinking like, oh no, I can think of some kind of pun, and I just can't. I'm completely out of this.
I refuse to believe that.
All out of ideas. Sorry, nope. Closing up.
Well, he's out of ideas, but we're not out of any other things. We've actually out of time is what we are. We've got to cut to a break. We'll see you in a few.
Cast was a fine addition to my collection.
100% win rate, baby, for Pantheon after the stellar victory coming in from Vanir versus NYYRIKKI. I don't care about anything else in the game. I'm really happy. I got to see my Pantheon being played. It didn't bring the press the attack. He went for Conquer, but a victory is a victory, man. And without further ado, I have Quickstep for the interview. How are you doing, man?
Doing great, doing great. Got to play the Pantheon.
Yeah! I was
this
so
win was for you, bro.
excited,
This win
man.
was for you.
Okay. Pulling myself back. Okay. How are you feeling after this victory versus NYYRIKKI?
I'm very happy. The other games how the other games went today meant that this game didn't really matter for us in terms of the standing. We were locked in fifth place no matter what. So the game wasn't that important. However, we still wanted to end on a good note before playoffs. Obviously, the Pantheon pick turned out to suit our composition as well and the matchup as well. So it was a great win.
See, it made sense. It made sense. Obviously, I have a lot of questions about like the play went through the Conqueror instead of the press the attack, the Umbro Glaive. I have a lot of it, but now I want to focus into playoffs because this is what I want to focus on Vanir. You guys are doing stellar as well. You guys are locked in fifth. My question is, who do you want to play against, and how is the team feeling?
I think we want to play against Dusty. They have been looking very good lately. 7-2 in the second split, very impressive. They had a rough start, but they have bounced back. And we beat them in the first half. They beat us in the second half. I think we are very close as teams. In a best of 5 scenario, it's decided in draft who can adapt better between the games, etc. And I think that will be a good matchup if we are to face against Dusty.
Okay, I got to see my favorite champion. I got to see my favorite. We got a lot of people getting their favorite champions. What would be your favorite champion to play inside of the Rift, regardless of if it fits or not?
I would have to say the Thresh. Maybe a boring answer, but I've played it a few times already. It is my favorite champ. It is my main champ for many years now, and I hope I get some Thresh games in the playoffs. It's been a while since I played it, actually, in NLC.
Okay, to wrap it up, because we don't have more time right now, I want to ask you, how did you feel walking in the Summoner's Rift with Pantheon? Like the way he walks in, he walks manly. How did you feel walking in the Rift?
Yeah, that's the best word, manly. Like, you just feel like an absolute beast with this champion, especially in the early game. Enemy thinks they are even fleeting, but against the Pantheon, they stand no chance in the early fights. So you just feel like an absolute beast. When you find those early kill like I did in mid lane right there and Snowball, then, you just completely dominate the whole map, and it feels amazing, yeah.
I'm so happy you picked this, by the way. Thank you so much, Quickstep. I'll see you in playoffs, man. Good split from Vanir and amazing and stellar victory. 100% win rate, baby. Thank you.
I have one thing to say before I
Yes.
leave. This is to Troublelink from Sahira. Sahira wanted to say to Troublelink that he really, really wanted to play Katarina this game. However, our manager told him that he will be fined if he locked that champion in. So he could not do that because of that reason. Yeah.
Okay, that is valuable information. Thank you so much for that, Quickstep, and I'll see you in playoffs. Okay, focusing back into this one. Vanir takes the 5th place. They're locked in. They're feeling comfortable, and they want to play versus Dusty. So whoever finishes in 3rd, if they pick Riddle, the first game for Vanir will be versus Dusty. So his wishes will be delivered as well. Now, looking into NYYRIKKI's side, this is the last interview with NYYRIKKI. I have the pleasure of getting Petoska with me to wrap it up in this split from NYYRIKKI. He played the top side, he played the Jace versus the Nine. Hello, Petoska, welcome.
Oh, nice to see you again.
Nice to see you as well. Obviously, sacrifices have to be done, man. They got the Pantheon. I mean, there's not much you can do, right?
Yeah, I mean, I could not grieve, but this time it was what it was.
It was an interesting match, and my question to you is, did this match mean anything to you specifically? Obviously, for the standings, it didn't matter anyway, but did it mean anything to you today?
I mean, it kind of did. Jace is a pick that I used to play a lot, like 2 years ago, and then I kind of didn't play it for 2 years, and now I played it 10 games in solo queue. I was like, hey, we can play Jace now. And then, yeah, I think it's first Jace game that I've played in competitive. So, like, yeah, next time it will be better.
I'm feeling that you're a little bit down, even though this was a game just for fun and like, quote, quote, for fun. What I want to ask you now is, what is like your summary for the entire split? How do you feel with NYYRIKKI reaching the place that you guys reached, the performance that you guys upgraded as well since the beginning of the split until now? How do you feel in the end?
I mean, I feel fine. I think we had the opportunities and we could have made playoffs, and I also knew that there was a chance that we're not gonna make it. But like at least towards the end, we've gotten better with dealing with our problems, kind of. There was a point in the middle where it wasn't so good.
Okay. My question then, to wrap it up, is what is your future goal? Where do you see yourself with this team or other team? I don't know what's going to happen in between the splits, but where do you feel yourself in the future, and what is your end goal?
I mean, end goal is to be as good as I can be, and what I think that means is next split I'll just shitstomp all top laners.
Seems like a fair objective. Seems like a fair objective, and an achievable one from the way I've seen you play. Obviously, the Jace didn't work out as you intended, but you have a lot of time now to prepare yourselves. And summer split, who knows what's going to happen? So Petoska, I know it's a little bit rough right now, but you have the skills, you have the talent. It's about how you use it in the future, man. And I want to see you back in NLC in the future, okay, mate?
Yeah, I will try my best.
It was a pleasure to have you with us throughout the entire split.
Yeah, thank you.
Obviously, it is rough. It is rough. They were out of the equation, but still, they want to prove themselves. It's a team that worked throughout the beginning of the split until now. They were one of the teams that couldn't get a single victory, but out of nowhere, they were climbing, and they almost made playoffs. So it is a rough one, but it's about upgrading yourself, looking for the future and not the present. But now the present, it is Astralis versus X7. Let me just put it out for you. If X7 wins, it is going to be X7, JDXL, and Bifrost in third place. If Astralis wins, everything goes down to shambles, and we'll talk about that in the desk. So I'll see you soon, and Pantheon is still alive.